Have you ever felt a feeling of overwhelming fear or worry? Does it leave your heart racing and your hands tremble? Is it a smothering feeling that leaves you sleepless at night? Does it feel like a tide pulling you under and there's no help in sight? Is it something that's triggered or is it random? If you feel anything I've described, you could have anxiety, along with other symptoms. The website DoSomething.org estimated that about 284 million people global had an anxiety disorder in 2017. They've also stated that a third of people with anxiety disorders are the only ones to get treated properly. Anxiety is a natural part of the human body. It's a part of our biology, our flight or fight instinct, but there's a distinction between that and an anxiety disorder. If you have a disorder, you're going to feel overwhelming anxiety every day in your life. It's going to impact your relationships with family and friends, as well as your school and your workplace. If you've had anxiety before, I'm sure you've had a moment where you were in front of the class and you felt anxious to give that speech, or you went to a party and you were scared to talk to people because you didn't know anyone. After doing a lot of research and experience, I can assure you all that I can give you the information you need to understand anxiety better. Today, I stand to inform you all of the types of disorders as well as how it affects people, the risk factors and complications, and how to cope with it. Now it's time to dive into the world of anxiety, piece by piece. There are 6 different types of disorders. Sometimes when you look it up, it'll vary. But the first one is generalized anxiety disorder, also known as GAD. It's characterized by an excessive feeling of anxiety or worry. You might feel irritable, restless, and above all else, you feel like you can't control it. The next one is panic disorders. These come with panic attacks. A panic attack is going to have symptoms of heart racing, hands trembling, sweating, a feeling of impending doom, and just like GAD, you're going to feel like you can't control it. The next one is phobias, not to be mistaken with panic attacks. Phobias are targeted on one specific thing, whether it's heights, clowns, spiders, snakes, anything. Someone who has a phobia is going to feel like they have to do anything they can in order to avoid that situation that puts them with their phobia, and this will obstruct them from everything in their life. The next one is social anxiety disorder. This one used to be a phobia and now it's its own disorder. It happens when someone is anxious about a social situation, whether it's giving a speech, an altercation at the workplace, you name it. And someone who has social anxiety is going to feel that anything they say or do in a social situation will be ridiculed or judged. The next is OCD. In OCD, obsessive compulsion disorder, it's not necessarily a disorder for anxiety, but it creates anxiety. Someone with OCD is going to feel that they will be judged for their ritualistic behaviors, whether it's you wash your hands over and over again to get all the germs, or you lock and unlock the door at night to make sure it's really locked. The last one is PTSD. PTSD is post-traumatic stress disorder. This comes with nightmares, flashbacks. It can be caused by war, car accidents, natural disasters, physical assault, among many other traumatic events. Among all anxiety disorders, the biggest problem with all of them is the fear of being able to not control it. Next, we're going to talk about the factors that can create anxiety. Some of these include trauma, stress, other mental health disorders such as depression, substance abuse is a big one, and if it runs in the family, it could run into you. And another one is just your personality type can give you a chance of having anxiety disorders. As far as complications go, these are the things that anxiety can create. It can create mental health disorders and it can create substance abuse, so they go in hand. It can also cause sleeping problems, chronic pain like headaches, digestive problems, and above all else, it could cause suicide. When we talk about anxiety disorders or mental health in general, the most important part is how we cope with it. Some of these are a lot simpler than you would think. The first most important step is finding the root of the problem. If you find that, then you'll know how to cope with it from there. Relabeling is an important one. If you're in a social situation and you're scared of giving your speech in front of the class, instead say, I'm excited to give that speech in front of the class, and it'll help you get on a better track. Another important one is healthy eating. Eating 3 times a day, a healthy diet, avoiding caffeine and avoiding substances like alcohol and drugs. Next would be sleeping patterns. You want to get 8 hours of sleep a day, and exercising is really important too to help clear your mind. Something as simple as deep breathing exercises, meditating, counting from 1 to 10 slowly. Those help you clear your mind and help you ease your heart rate and bring it down a little. The most important one is you should always talk to someone, whether it's a family member, a friend. If you're too embarrassed to talk to someone you know, go see a therapist because they can help you in more ways than one. Lastly, whenever you're talking about a mental health disorder, there's darker parts you have to talk about. And if you're at a point in your life where you feel like there's nothing left, you have no one to talk to, before you do anything, please call the Suicide National Prevention Hotline, which is 1-800-237-TALK, also 8255. In conclusion, anxiety disorders are typically the most common disorder, but the most overlooked. We live in a world where we have so many opportunities to achieve things, but sometimes we let the negative slip through, and this can create hidden beasts that we don't know how to control. What can I ask of all of you from this speech? Don't undermine your mental health. It's a lot more important, and the longer you let it go, the more it's going to affect you in the long run. Never be afraid to speak up. The people around you love and do care about you. And last but most important, never judge someone for things they can't control, because you could be the one that pulls them out of the tide and helps them back to shore. Thank you. And then
don't pause it.
These are my notes, and this is my audience. Thank you. The sources I cited for my speech are from the National Institute of Mental Health, the psychiatric.org from Rana Parekh, the Mayo Clinic staff, and 2 pieces from the Anxiety and Depression Association of America. One of them is from DoSomething.org, and they cited theirs from ADAA as well. Thank you.